Hello everybody watching on stormsentertainment.com and as well as webofcinema.com. This is my first impressions of Final Fantasy XIII-2, in which I told everybody I was going to do just like I did Final Fantasy XIII. The game was just released, a few days ago, so it's impossible to review an entire Final Fantasy game after playing it for just a couple days. So this is my first impressions. I picked up the collector's edition, as all true fans would. All true fans of Final Fantasy would pick up this collector's edition. It's a great collector's edition. It has a hardcover. It comes out like a book. It has concept art, a 4-disc soundtrack, as well as the game. Plus, comes with a downloadable costume for Sarah, as well as a weapon for her. And with the matching game, I bought the collector's edition strategy guide, which already went through and used this a couple times. Not on going through the story, but what items are best to equip with my characters, where can I find certain things, where can I find some of the fragments. So the strategy guide has come in handy, especially since the game is so new, you can't really find much on it on YouTube and other websites. So Final Fantasy XIII-2, first impressions, what do I think of it? I think if you dislike this game, then you have serious mental problems, because everything that people complained about in 13, which I, by the way, have no complaints about 13. A lot of people are like, oh, it's too linear, you go down a straight path, you don't get to explore none until you get to Grand Pulse, blah, 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 bitch, 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 one. It seems like every time a new Final Fantasy game comes out, someone has to try to dissect it and try to pick the worst parts of the game. In 13, no one gave props to the great storytelling, great voice acting, great graphics, cinematics, all that. No, they went straight for, oh, it's too linear, and the battle system, which I thought 13, the revolutionized the battle system, was great, and it returns in this sequel, Final Fantasy XIII-2. But for all you people that did complain about how the story was so linear, that gets tossed out the window. I mean, they should have three-pointer with this one. They throw it completely out the window, because that's gone. I mean, you're basically in an open world environment from the first 30 minutes you play this game. The game starts off and you are controlling lightning, and you're in this huge cinematic battle, and you're fighting Caius, and basically you're in the cinematic battle, and the new cinematic features have new elements too, which I really love, because you're not just watching it. You actually have to control some of it. I mean, it'll say like press left on the left analog stick, press right on the left analog stick, press X, circle, square, triangle. I like to call this feature the God of War feature, because this really wasn't around till God of War came out, where they actually have, button commands within a cutscene. And then you see other games like Metal Gear Peace Walker is guilty of this, and other games, Star Wars Force Unleashed, and Dante's Inferno, stuff like that. But they incorporate that into this game, so you get to fight in, this great battle system, and during these cutscenes you still interact in these boss battles, which I thought was great. So we see Lightning, and she's dressed as this knight, and we're in a different world entirely. We're in a place called Valhalla, and basically everything's torn to shreds. We meet our new main character, Noel Kreis. Lightning sends him back to tell Sarah that, listen, bring her here. You are to guide her, and so on. And right now the story mode is top notch. And a lot of people are saying, well, due to this new open world environment we have, we don't get the same storytelling, and I think that's completely false, because now the story is richer, because now you can explore, and you get different varieties of the story from every character you interact with. So it's not like Final Fantasy XIII, where it was very linear, but I was fine with that. But for the core Final Fantasy people that love 7 and 8, where you can explore, they complain because you couldn't really interact with many things until you really got to Grand Pulse. This one, you can interact with everybody, starting with, as soon as you get down on Pulse, which is right after the cinematics with Lightning and meeting Noel Craig and Caius. We meet up with Sarah, which just takes place 2-3 years after 13. And basically, the end of 13 was erased from history. Only Sarah remembers the true ending of Final Fantasy 13. Nobody believes her. Nobody believes her. Snow doesn't believe her, but then he starts to believe her, and then he goes out looking for Lightning, and he's been missing too. So, basically, everything's turned into a paradox. Somebody's changing time. Right now, I'm not that far in the game. I'm like 11, 12 hours into this game. And you're probably saying, well, how come you're not that far? Like, I'm on episode 3, part 1, and I'm like 12 hours into the game. But I've been spending a lot of that time farming for XP, or in this case, the CP, which is the crystal points, which lets you expand on your crystal system in order to max out your characters. I have Noah and Sarah as Commando, maxed out with 99. Ravager, they're at like 70% each. I mean, I'm maxing out everything. You get to capture monster crystals and use monsters in your party, sort of like a summon. And those are basically your extra characters. I have several monsters maxed out. So I've been very, very busy leveling up and farming because, in my opinion, playing a Final Fantasy game, you have to be smart. You just can't run and gun, run and fight. I know people who got 13 and they went straight to the story, and they're like, "Well, I'm on, chapter 11. What chapter are you on?" "I'm chapter 6. "Oh, I'm further than you." But I beat the game faster than they did. He was on chapter 11. I was on chapter 6, but I beat him before him. Why? Because he got stuck when he got too far because he didn't level up. Me, I think ahead of time. So you always have to be prepared. Whenever I find a monster who is strong, that takes me a lot of hits to kill and gives me a decent amount of CP or XP, I stay in that area for a while. When I'm able to defeat that monster in 1 or 2 hits, then it's time for me to move on because I completed that challenge. That's the way I level up. You guys can take it any way you want. You guys have your own leveling up systems. Me, Joel from Web of Cinema has this game. Man of Tomorrow has this game. A lot of the core people that I talk to in the internet world that review stuff is playing this game, so I can't wait to kind of get their opinions on this. I might actually ask Joel on Web Cinema if he would like to do a joint review, final review of this game with me, so we can get 2 different opinions. But right now, I think it's top notch. I love the exploration. I love how you have the freedom to go anywhere. It brings back that freedom that we were missing in Final Fantasy 13. I enjoyed the story for 13 very much, but I do kind of understand some of the complaints about it being too linear, because a lot of times it felt like you're walking down the hall, but I still think 13 is an awesome game. I think people are a little too harsh on that. This game is without doubt the best Final Fantasy game since Final Fantasy X. It really is. The soundtrack's awesome, voice acting is awesome, story's epic, the whole gameplay is awesome. So, really loving this game. Right now, my wife is out there playing and getting my XP up for me because I refuse to take any breaks. I have to be leveling up constantly, so I need to get back out there for her. Still got a lot of Final Fantasy to play. I hope you guys enjoyed the first impression. Leave in the comment box what you think of the game so far, if you have it. Also, subscribe to StormsEntertainment.com. Become a member. That way you can leave comments, start stuff in the forums. If anybody wants to put a walkthrough in the forums, they're more welcome to. But go ahead and subscribe to StormsEntertainment.com. Leave your comments. Tell me what you think about the game. And you'll see me next time when I officially review Final Fantasy 13-2.